Obviously, we got to get there first. Let's see what happens as we dive on into the map. We're going to Oxide, which is probably why we've got Terrans here. Bottom left-hand side, our blue Terran is ByuN from the Shopify Rebellion. Taking on the Afreeca Freecs. Terran Ace in the top right, it's TY. Alright, so first map of this final best of 2 of the best of 7. It's 2-2 right now in the overall series. This is big because the Afreeca Freecs are looking to keep their perfect record. Remember again that the point system as well is that if you win without an ace match, it's 3 points. If you win in an ace match, it's 2 points. And if you lose in an ace match, it's 1 point. And that does make a difference because obviously points are what this league is dependent on. So to stay at the top of the league right now, you're basically looking at trying to pick up 3 points, right? That will tie you up with Team NV. If you win in an ace match today, you start to drop off from the top, from the 3-0, haven't dropped, haven't gone to an ace map pace. So yeah, it's pretty important to win outside of the ace match. That additional point can make the difference. Especially don't make a habit of winning in an ace match, of course. If it comes down to the ace match, definitely win it. It also means that if you get to the ace match, you get a point as well, and that could be big even if the Shopify Rebellion just force a point in an ace. Right, that keeps them up and competitive with, for example, if they actually win, if they lose in an ace match today, the Shopify Rebellion will be 1-2, but they'll actually have the same amount of points as Afreeca. Right, so, even though Afreeca are 2-1, they would have the same amount of points because Afreeca have won in an ace, and outside of an ace, and Shopify Rebellion have lost in 2 aces and 1 outside. You know what I mean? Like, it's, you can make up points. The points are important. And yeah, for a team like Shopify Rebellion, who are maybe just outside of the top 4 in terms of rankings, and they're going to be fighting for that 5th place spot a lot, and that kind of final playoff place, every point you can get is going to count a lot towards being able to make that happen. Every single one of those points is going to matter a lot for you. So every match for the Shopify Rebellion that has the potential to be, to gain points from is big. And right now, this series has potential. ByuN needs 1 map to guarantee at least some points. You have a Reaper continuing in production for ByuN here, despite him having a reactor on that barracks. He should be able to defend against this. That's a bad jump up from TY. Doesn't get punished for it though. Wow. That's 2 very lucky Reapers, both getting away 1 hit from death. And that's TY getting out of there very fortunately, as both players finishing their command centers on the natural expansion soon. A tech lab is already on this factory. We're going to see a tank and a medevac on the way up. Yeah, gun chases across the map, and he is going to come up into the main base with these couple of Reapers. Try for a couple of these SCVs, but can't quite find the target fire on any of them yet, and he puts damage on a bunch of SCVs, but doesn't end up killing off any. He does slow down the CC on the naturals, so takes a slight advantage from that at least. That's a small victory. As we are going to be seeing this medevac pulling out back down the bottom side. Couple of Reapers coming along as well. Viking is coming up from ByuN, and that's going to help with pushing a medevac back if it ends up arriving, as it is going to in the natural expansion. Avoids that Widow Mine at the front here as well. So if you didn't hear from TY looking for some work, is a siege tank this early in the game is actually quite difficult to dislodge. Tank's going to siege up in response. ByuN has a little drop in the main base of his opponent as well, though, so that's going to move through for some SCV damage right now, as these 2 Reapers of TY definitely do a lot more than 2 Reapers of ByuN did. And here come these Marines, like I say, just able to do a lot, and especially in a game where there's only really Marines defensively here, they actually have a pretty good time. He actually gets that medevac out alive as ByuN has lost 9 workers. The worker count overall here is dead even. This is a case of who can just take a little bit of a better situation here at the end of the day. I mean, TY is mining a bit more comfortably, but ByuN will get back to his natural now. And it's pretty even across the board, isn't it? ByuN still keeping this medevac alive. Nice that ByuN got some damage done there. The biggest issue for ByuN, I think, was the Reapers. The Reapers got a ton of damage out of TY. If those Reapers hadn't been able to get so much, then ByuN would be in a little bit of a worker lead, in fact, as he's going to push across the map. He kind of believes he's got an opportunity here to get something done. The Widowmine's going to move forward. It's going to tank a couple of tank shots. The tank actually turned for a moment there, but that means the Widowmine's going to be targeted on the siege tank. Somehow survives low HP, though. It gets away into the main with the Viking giving chase. I mean, the Viking's going to land. It wants that siege tank. It wants it badly. Marines are going to have to body block. The Viking gets the tank, and that's massive for ByuN to take a position on this natural expansion. SCV's pulling instantly. Marines are going to have to be the target fires here from these siege tanks, as TY doesn't even get a chance to siege. 7 workers go down. He will be able to reland his natural. Obviously, ByuN's army gets cleaned out. Oh, what a crazy state of affairs. That Widowmine just like, oh, I can burrow on a siege tank. And because the siege tank decided to target fire Marines in the distance, it didn't go for the Widowmine kill, so the Widowmine got that shot off. That was absolutely ridiculous. Jeez. That was wild. ByuN taking a 12 worker lead off of this. And what's big is often in TVT, you see someone take a worker lead. What it usually means is that the other guy has like an army advantage. It's like you gave up your army to get a worker lead. But in this case, ByuN's done good army damage as well. So ByuN's actually ahead also in... Oh, he's not ahead in army supply, but he's equal-ish in army supply. He's not massively down in army supply. Biggest issue on ByuN's army is that TY has stim completed. So that's a big advantage that he has. And maybe he can make use of that stim with this double medevac job that currently starts flying across the map. Now, ByuN, remember, he played Innovation. Was it this map as well? Last week he played Innovation on, got extremely far ahead, and then let it all slip away. I think it might have been. And, well, that was not a pretty game. So he needs to do better than that this time around. As he's going to see this drop. That's massive. Deflects it, doesn't let it in the main base. And now TY is not going to be able to take advantage of that initial stim pack upgrade lead. And that's a pretty big deal as well. Alrighty, well, we see the Vikings and Raven pulling back out over the left-hand side. Marines coming through the center. Doing pretty alright there. It's just going to be seeing our Marines and our tanks all joining up together. Additional Marines continue to produce, and in combat shields, it's just going to be finishing fairly soon also. Now 1-1 upgrades of ByuN starting up now. As well as our Marines is going to come on in, just going to go in after these rocks. Marines and tanks is going to go through these rocks right now and clean that up. That's going to be looking for TY to press on forward. I mean, he's equal on army supply, so what he's trying to do is take a map control lead, right? For the map control lead, obviously ByuN might not be able to take this third CC properly, and that's something TY could take the advantage of. ByuN has his own stim now as he sees these Marines, these tanks of his opponent siege up very quickly. He's going to have to back away. ByuN has an air control lead, but that means that you don't have the ground army advantage, which means you've got to be very careful about how you fight. And he just let his Marines walk back into siege tank fire. ByuN making mistakes. And we've seen him here before. Last week against Innovation, he had a lead. It was a bigger lead than this, and he really let it slip away. Now, he's got air control. That's definitely something he didn't have last week. But there's still a lot more to be done as he sets up here defensively, still maintaining that worker lead is the biggest part of this from ByuN. And eventually that should give him something of an army advantage. It's just not quite transitioned into that just yet. Vikings picking away to medevac, so a couple of medevacs loading up Marines and coming back around the left-hand side. They're going to unload in the corner, clean those Marines out. Raven comes in, double Matrix goes down on these siege tanks, and that's a pretty big deal for being able to perhaps clean this up. Why are SCVs pulling into this? For the Vikings to land? I find that kind of crazy. Okay, you only lost 4 workers, and ByuN is going to clean this army out. Okay, it was the right call in the end. Those upgrades are finishing on either side. Both players get the 1-1 at the same time. Both players are going to have an armory to start 2-2 pretty swiftly. TY doesn't have combat shields still. That's concerning to say the least. Neither does ByuN. Oh my god. Guys, combat shields, please. They've both forgotten combat shields. They've both forgotten combat shields for a pretty sizable amount of time, because Stim has been done for a little while now. Okay, well, ByuN is going to take the supply lead again. Sorry, TY has combat shields. I'm getting confused with the locations of the production, guys. My bad. I apologize. Yeah, my it's because it's TVT, and when I cast mirror matchups, just to quickly mention this, I always look at like top versus bottom of the map versus production tab, but they don't swap it around in this league, so that's me getting myself confused. So ByuN's on the way to combat shields. TY already has it. That's my bad. Just getting mixed up a little bit on the production tab. My apologies. All right, we're gonna move through these rocks as ByuN is gonna come across the map aggressively as we go through. It's gonna come on in. I mean, there's only one tank that's beginning to siege here from TY, and ByuN's is gonna push through for the victory. The Shopify Rebellion are gonna go on to match point and the potential to cause an upset here against the 11 out of 10 English. Yeah, if you had a hexagon for my English ability, it would definitely be up there. I'd be like Clem micro levels of Englishing, you know? I would English the shit out of everybody else. I just had so many things I wanted to say, I couldn't say them all in time. ByuN puts the Shopify Rebellion onto that 3-2 lead. Top left, our red Terran. It's DY from the Afreeca Freecs. Needs a map win to keep his team alive and to take this to an ace match. Pick this off, get this underway. Just gonna see an SAV here, gonna drop down a Rax. Get this started up. TY picks submarines. He picks this short, aggressive map that can be very, you know, how do I want to say this? Very volatile, I guess is the word. It's kind of my go-to word for mirror matchups, but very volatile map. You know, this is the kind of map where counterattacks can hit you quickly, a position can be taken so soon and you can't do much about it. This is the kind of map where you need the answer to that stuff, to be honest. SCV, we'll scout up that route. We do see the factory coming down in the main base here from ByuN. You're gonna see our reactor dropping down, and yeah, overall looking pretty similar on both sides of the map, right? It comes back around to the right and just gonna be having our game continuing to build up, guys. It's peaceful. TVT opening. Definitely tension on the line again. Afreeca Freecs came into this as an undefeated team. Probably expected to come out of this an undefeated team. Just gonna see this Reaper hanging around just on this upper side of the natural expansion starport, still coming through from TY. ByuN's actually going to go pretty aggressive here, so he's going into this reactor Reaper setup, into a couple of Marines now. I want to see what's in ByuN's base. I'm getting kind of, I feel like we're not watching anything right now. I feel like how you guys feel when I don't observe things properly. I wanted to see what the setup was from ByuN, because seeing him build 2 Reapers was interesting. TY is going for the Marauder and Concussive Shells. He's expanded high ground. He's now going to go into a pretty aggressive follow-up here that ByuN's going to have to be careful initially, but this is a good start for ByuN. He's going to jump on a Hellion. Then the other Hellions are going to show up against him. Can he get some extra kills? He's going to clean out 2 Hellions. He's only going to clean out 2 Hellions. That's a lot of losses from ByuN. He's going to even see the Marauder, right? So I think ByuN's very aware of what's up right there and what's going on. It's going to be difficult. Now you've got to pull everything together and find a defense down on army supply. He didn't really gain anything from that. That was too heavily of a committed... he committed too heavily, right? He loses out on his Reapers. I mean, the 2 Hellions being killed is nice, but obviously you could also still have 2 Hellions for this fight now. As TY still has pretty high numbers. Here we go, the Siege Tank initially. Not going to do a lot here. Might want to try and unsiege that. The SCV is not repairing it. It's actually just going to see that getting blown into the distance. These Marines are not going to do so hot in TY. Some serious damage at the moment. Viking going to land against Marauders. Don't think that is in the best interest of ByuN right now, as he is going to have to try and find a defense here. These couple Marauders continue to knock out the front door. Here comes the Siege Tank pushing through. Work account, a little bit of an advantage to TY, who also just still holds an army advantage now. This tank is up against a Marauder and a Medevac. Viking comes in and try and push it back, and we will see ByuN eventually defending. All of these SCVs AFK though, and this is the economy damage that TY has gained from a successful attack onto this natural. Marauder pulling back. We're going to push up the top side. And there's going to be ByuN's chance to maybe get a bit of damage done, try and claw this back a little bit. TY is already on the way to that 3rd CC, which ByuN isn't going into just yet, so ByuN will maybe keep a bit more aggressive in that regard, but he is down in army, so I'm not sure how much he'll get done. Down in army while your opponent takes the 3rd CC already, right? It's definitely problematic. Couple of depots finishing up on the natural expansion. The Ravens just hanging out overhead with this Bioforce as well, and tanks gonna start pushing out. A few Vikings also. They're gonna get aggressive. I just don't see what he does with this aggression. Like, I don't see what you do here that's gonna be so good for you. Like, he's gonna have a faster stem into a defensive TY. Problem is, you can't just go stimming into siege tanks, right? Yeah, it's a little tough. Sorry, I just try to move my mouse onto the mini map to try and look at the Liberator. I forgot I wasn't observing, guys. This is actually nice though. 6 SCVs to start off with, and very unfortunate not to get a 7th that just jumped into the refinery. I mean, that's nice from ByuN. That's actually going to put him in a worker lead. The problem still stands. He doesn't have an army lead, and he doesn't really have a way to fight into this position. It's not like he has a Raven or anything. And again, no 3rd CC means he's very committed to doing damage with this at some stage. Tanks will continue to siege in the center. Just going to be seeing our Vikings get into the middle of the map as well. Tank's going to unsiege now. Marine tank Viking. Yeah, again, we're waiting to see if ByuN can find a way to get something done here. He's going to start making his own 3rd CC. He does have those reactors finishing on his racks. I guess he might be able to take some Marine production lead, but not sure how much, as the Vikings do grab themselves a free kill there. So ByuN being the aggressive, finding opportunities. And it's just the fact that TY has air control as well. Like, how do you break this? Answer, you don't. Right? And if you don't break this, again, I'm very worried about where ByuN goes in this game. Yeah, try and take a position over here. I mean, this is cute. It's the right idea of what you want to do. Right? Finding a way to get little bits of damage. Find another medevac. Yeah, like I say, this is the right idea for ByuN. It's still not quite going to be... You know, killing one refinery is not exactly the game changer in this map of submarine right now. That doesn't make up for the 10 worker deficit. Vikings gonna land. I mean, that's dangerous because if obviously Marines stim on over here, then these Vikings are gonna get cleaned out. Here come the Marines, and now there's Vikings here as well. He's going to pull back to the siege tanks and use those as a way to protect himself. He's going to lift up. He's going to kill one Raven. He goes for Vikings. He's going to be able to get the other Raven as well, though. TY is obviously looking across the map. He's got some damage going on over there. This was kind of a ridiculous play that almost kind of worked out in a way. As these tanks siege up. I mean, yeah, you're going to lose these Vikings. You're going to lose high ground vision. I think it's time for these tanks to maybe try and get home. This was such a ridiculous kind of experience watching this happen. As we are going to be seeing TUI starting to move out of the map. Both players are finishing up some upgrades. Combat shields coming through. Again, obviously, ByuN's army is split into two different parts right now. Both players are scanning around the map, trying to keep track of their opponents. TUI is going to realize, ByuN, you don't have a third CC. Why the hell do I want to attack you if you're not mining off a third base? Yeah, going to go back home and defend. He's kind of realizing just how aggressive ByuN is set up to be right now. ByuN does have a third CC moving into position now, though. So what's kind of funny is that maybe TUI misreads this a little bit because he sees no third CC, but in reality, that's just now moving out. Maybe TUI doesn't realize that ByuN is at least going to be on a third CC in the near future, right? So that could maybe put him into a bit of a confusing position. TUI first to start 2-2 upgrades. ByuN just needs to remember those as well. He doesn't have an armory. Oh, that's an issue. Is he actually? I think his armory is... I feel like the armory isn't building. It's in production, but it's not building, right? He's going to try and move over here, drop the tanks down, and make a play, but... yeah, that's not going to work out too well either, is it? ByuN's armory is 100% halted. Like, the SCV has stopped building it for whatever reason, and that's obviously every second that continues, there's a second that he's not going to get his 2-2. And that TUI takes yet another advantage here on Submarine. I mean, the one thing that ByuN does have is this kind of aggressive position. And that does stand for a fair amount. I always think that, you know, having an aggressive stance like this gives you options in a matchup like TVT. Problem is that Viking count is so good, the air control is big, and now the Liberators have been built. ByuN actually has to give up this position. You can't continue to fight this like you once could. ByuN has started a second armory as he seems to not realize that his first one, for whatever reason, has just stopped building. I don't know what the situation is there, but it's obvious that something's not quite right. He must have, like, started building it, stopped it, and then, like I say, now he's building a second one rather than even realizing there's one still on the map somewhere. Oh, TY is now going to start getting aggressive himself, sending a triple drop on the map. ByuN is reinforcing as well, so he doesn't really have a lot at home. The triple drop could just be the right amount to get in, and it's a sort of, you know, sort of amount of units that might be able to get in, clean a mineral line, kill a CC, and get out alive even. Let's see, he's going to start dropping straight into the back of this natural expansion, so here we go. The engineering bays are here. If ByuN was building 2-2, it'd probably get cancelled right now anyway. As, yeah, TY is going to go for the 2-2, which just started up. In fairness, that's, you know, not the biggest loss for ByuN when he was not really, you know, on his way to 2-2 anyway. You know, in a way, maybe he actually saved him the command center. As, well, maybe not, because he just loses this fight here. ByuN has to commit across the map. He has to make a move to try and win this game here, and now we're going to stim on forward. Our Marines are going to try and split up. They're going to just get massacred. TY knew he didn't need to make a big move out. That's why he pulled back home. That's why he sat back defensively apart from the drop. ByuN fell behind early, and he was not able to get back into this. TY played a good defensive game, and we go 3-3 across the board. Stats, Trap, and TUI bringing out the big boys today, the Afreeca Freecs, and yet they still need to go to an ace match. Scarlet, Lambo, and ByuN. Who will they pick to go out in the ace and to try and win it for the Shopify Rebellion? It all comes down to one last map, which we... Lambo against Stats. I kind of felt Lambo. I think Lambo against Stats is a... I think Lambo is a good choice. I genuinely think, based on the map, and I think if you think they're going to send out a Protoss, I think Lambo is the better choice than a ByuN. I believe from lately. Why not pick your best player? I mean, that's just stupid logic. It's like saying, why not pick your best player? Well, maybe they genuinely believe Lambo is the better player versus a Protoss and Pillars of Gold, right? Like, there's more than just being, like, your overall best player. ByuN literally had a massive lead in an ace match last week and choked. Right? He had like a huge lead last week in the ace match and choked. And I think ByuN having to play TVP is maybe not his best matchup. It can go very wrong, especially against someone like Stats. And Lambo has shown us he's got some pretty realistically good ZVP today. You know? Even in that game against Trap where he fell very far behind, he played a good game to stay in it and to give himself some good chances. I think Lambo is a solid choice here. I genuinely think that Lambo against Stats is better than a ByuN versus Stats. I think this is the matchup that Shopify wanted, most likely. I'm a believer. I'm a believer. Da, 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 da. Who we gonna see win in the ace match? Da, 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 da. Queen Walk coming is a good map for Queen Marching, but it obviously depends what Stats does as well. Let's see, as Lambo is going to go for kind of forward hatchery again. So again, kind of similar idea. Now, on this map compared to Jagannatha, I feel like this doesn't give you as much of an advantage on creep in comparison to Jagannatha's, you know, forward base. I wonder if server came into it as well. You know, I wonder if Shopify Rebellion knew that if Lambo came out, they'd get the central server. And if they got the central server, that's something they're confident with sending Lambo on versus, you know, if it was going to be West, then maybe then they would have sent ByuN anyway, you know? You know what I mean? Like, that's something to keep in mind as well. And something else to keep your mind about. Alright, we are just going to be seeing a couple queens coming through. Stats is having a little bit of a head scratch. Sorry, I just punched my microphone in excitement. Thank you so much, DeepStar99, for the gifted subs. I'll read those out after the game. Let's focus on everything that happens in this ace game, as it is going to be the Adept coming through. And Lambo, big thing for him is going to be protecting that third base, making sure the Adepts don't run around him too much over there. Stargate drops into the main base from Stats as well, so gets that Stargate up and running. And just going to be seeing a couple of lings coming through to the center for the moment. It's just kind of hanging around. Natural expansion. Going to start up building a hatchery here as well. And just going to be seeing now a single Adept making its way up and away. I don't know if you play double Stargate on this map as Stats, to be honest. I'm not sure double Stargate is the... You can play double Stargate on pillars. I just don't know if double Stargate's the best way to play on pillars. It's gonna go Void Ray to start us off here. Void Ray just continuing to Chrono Boost out. Gonna be finishing soon. Queen pops out, drops an inject onto the third base. Do just have ourselves a second Void Ray. So 2 Void Rays right off the bat here. So no Oracle harassment or anything, right? Is something to take note of. So it's one less thing that Lambo has to worry about early. In fact, there's no aggression at all from Stats, really. Next is onto the third base, just going to be seeing the Warp Gate is about to complete. Yeah, guys, this is a best of one. One map to decide everything right now. Obviously, the entire series is a best of 7, right? So it's 3-3 in maps across the entire team match. So this is just game 7 of the best of 7. Hence why it's a best of 1. Rotron is building from Lambo in the natural expansion. A couple of additional gases coming through. We got a few queens stacked up on that third base. Again, he's definitely expecting some sort of aggression, even just the Void Ray showing up. Now Stats starts up a couple of Adepts. His third base coming in, and not really seeing much of a move. I guess we're going to see now what Stats wants to go into as the follow-up on this third base. He's going to have 4 Adepts coming across the map. I think the link count is reasonably okay here for handling this. And I believe they're still at home as well. Okay, there's actually 6 Adepts and now the 2 Voids. I think if everything's kind of out the front, this is not such a bad situation for Lambo. Let's see, he's got Lings here that can dive on this. The Adepts do not commit. The Voids are going to make their way into the main where they can maybe get an Extractor kill. There's a couple Queens here. They're going to have to fall back a little bit. There is a Spore Crawler they can fall back to. And one queen goes down as maybe the other queen as well is going to end up falling here. 2 queens in a spore trying to put in some work. Okay, 2 queens go down, but that is 2 very low HP Void Rays. Oh, he's going to draw this one back into the Spore Crawler, though. Stats gets it away alive. That's massive. Good save as Lambo about to finish up his lair. And we'll see what he wants to build up here is... was he finishing up with the lair? Did he just cancel the lair? Was that just a fake out? It might have been. I'm not sure where that lair was on the way. Might have just been giving stats a bit of a scout as Lambo instead sets up into this Queen Roach Ravager Ling attack. I think this was a faked lair. Sorry, it's a little difficult for me to see the progress bars in that production tab, so I believe he just cancelled that. Here comes the Queen Walk. Now, the Void Rays are kind of low HP, right? So yeah, they've got shields. If you ever get through those shields, those Voids are going to die pretty quickly, so it's something to keep in mind. +1 and Blink on the way from stats, not going to be done for a while here, so it gives Lambo a timing window to work in. Corrosive Bow going to just not quite really connect. As Adepts are trying to make their way around the bottom right-hand side as well, trying to find a way to get a little bit more damage done. There you go, plenty of Ravagers. I mean, it looks like Stats is just going to give up the third base, right? Which is oftentimes a really good way to play this. You just give up the third base. You don't try and trade out on the third base at all. And while that obviously puts you down to third base, it means that Lambo is obviously kind of cut a lot of stuff to be able to do this. And then he doesn't really get much out of it, right? You just retake your third base at some point. Lambo with a lot of Lings down here. Going to find those Adepts in the bottom right. That's a nice catch. It's going to force the recall. More than anything, it just forces you to not have to worry about that. It's triple Void across the map. Going to get in the Natch. I don't know if there's a Spore Crawler there. 2 queens. Well, not going to have the best of time. Now a couple of Spores are on their way across. That one Void Ray gets back. The micro from Stats on the Void Rays has been on point in this game. As Lambo does just pull everything back home. And a Robo Bay comes in from Stats. So, of course, you know, he survives this attack. Lambo is still without a lair while Stats is heading, about to be on +1 and Blink. About to be on +1 and Blink. Robo Bay and a Robo Facility coming up. So we're going to see Disruptor Production 2. I imagine Disruptors, right? We've got Disruptors here instead of Colossus. It is very heavy on the Link count. Maybe you could argue you could go Colossus, but I think Disruptors are typically just the way most people continue to play this. Hallucinations from Stats trying to get on in. Wants to try and make sure he's not up against like a Spire or anything, right? Wants to check there is a lair on the way, right? This all, this is all information which he gains just with these double hallucinations. Sees the Bane Nest as well. It is going to be a Colossus. Yeah, I don't mind the Colossus against the composition Lambo's currently working with. That's a lot of Lings still, and they are looking to catch these Stalkers in amongst all these Lings. I mean, there is Blink available, right? So you should be able to somewhat get out of here. Corrosive Bow's dropping down, doing some good damage. Stats is getting caught middle of the map, and this was unexpected. Lambo just swarmed Stats' army. Uh-oh. Stats may be in some trouble. He's got some Adepts or so across the map, I believe, doing some damage. The Void Rays here. Lambo is very desperate to come across. Corrosive Bow's landing on Stalkers again. Lambo moving forward so soon has given up a few Ravagers to the Void Rays. He's not mining the third base because of the Prism play, so he has to get those drones back to mining. While continuing this attack, Stats' unit count being reset is massive, but he's about to have a Colossus. I mean, if Lambo can just get rid of the third base again, though, that redenial is going to be a big deal. That's going to slow Stats down way further than he ever should have been slowed. I don't see why Lambo would not get that third base right now. One Colossus is not making the difference in this fight, that's for sure. Biggest problem for Lambo here is that these queens are not getting away from this fight this time. Disruptor shot dead center. They're going to trade out transfusions, but there's just nothing else he can really do to keep these queens up and running. He is going to get the Nexus, right? I'm assuming that's still got enough units on it to take it down. No, Lambo go finish it off. Yeah, don't let that survive. If you want a chance in this game, you do not want to let the Nexus live on low HP. Oh, this is still terrifying because that Disruptor count and Colossus count is really on the way up right now, and the higher that gets, the scarier this is, man. Those Void Rays. Stats has been so good at keeping these Void Rays alive all the way throughout this game. Tell you what Lambo's been good at, though. He hasn't lost a lot of his tech units, right? He's lost queens, he's lost lings, he's lost minerals, but he's actually kept a fair amount of his gas units alive throughout all of this. That's nice. Lamb morphs into the Hive in the main. Obviously, getting to Vipers right now would be the kind of the biggest win condition for Lambo. Is you get to Vipers, you abduct those Disruptors, you abduct Colossi. I mean, you really just nullify the army. Lambo is looking to fight maybe out in the open here. He does not have Baneling speed. He wants to try and fight this right now. That's going to be messy. Honestly, the Disruptors don't do kind of amazing things, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. We're going to see these Banes continue to chase forward. No Prism here, so no Micro available on the side of Stats. These couple Disruptors are in some trouble. Stalkers have to blink back, and again, Lambo taking the aggressive stance, and I love it because it definitely puts him into the better position, right? And he still needs to get Roach Speed finished up. Bane Speed 2 is only going to help him further, but killing off the Disruptors makes life a bit easier, and this is a bit more time bought towards him getting to Hive Tech. Stats is finally going to have his third base back up and running, unless Lambo finds something of a counterattack to shut that down again. Something is happening on the main army. Can we look at the army, please, Observer? Some proper Wardy observing right there. Jeez. Whole point of me having to watch it clean for you, you don't have to put up with my observing, but today, we're missing things, I swear down. Alright, we are going to see Stats just backing off. The thing is for Stats, is that Lambo's about to hit Vipers, so Lambo's about to hit an army that can end this game. He survived to the counter of what Stats has built. So once these Vipers are up and they've got energy, these Colossus are not going to be part of a fight for very long. That's why Stats is going Temple Archives. I think he knows he probably needs Storm against the Banelings, but realistically, right now, he just needs to get some feedbacks available. Without feedbacks available, he's not really going to be able to deal with the Vipers at all. So yeah, that's what I believe we're on our way into right now. Is the first Vipers are out. Temple Archives finishes. Let's see if Stats warps. A couple of High Templar in. We're going to be seeing Lambo already positioned aggressively. I don't believe his Vipers are here yet, though, so can't imagine he wants to go right now. We do see Archons morphing, so no feedbacks available just yet. He does start Storm. Lambo will fight before this, though. He's maxed out. He's got zero reason to wait. He knows what his advantage is in this game. He's actually going to go down right now. Again, I'm surprised about the lack of the Vipers in this initial start of the fight. There they are, going to get dragging those Colossus forward, and they are going to start going down pretty quickly. Not instantly. Bane's going to hit the mineral line as well, and Lambo is still maxed out with reinforcements on the way as Stats is backed into a corner. Not really anywhere to run to. These Stalkers going down. Can he chase down the Colossus here? Lambo really get a full reset on the tech count? Yes, he can. He's going to get the job done, and the Shopify Rebellion are going to cause the upset here in the ace match. 2 days in a row, we've had a choice for the ace that people disagree with. But Lambo and Nice have both gotten the jobs done in their respective ace matches, and this is the beauty of the team leagues, guys. This is why we love them. Upsets, crazy choices, crazy picks, and just matches that are fantastic and exciting because of it all. Lambo shows up. This guy is a monster in the team league. He is now 6